it's Andrew from Enabling Progress Conversations around the NDIS and the lovely Debbi. Now, guys, we are here and it's been a red hot minute. Now, that is because you are so busy, so I am going to throw you straight under the bus. As the local council bus group, we're recording in our park, so guys, forgive me as well. But NDIS Changes, first and foremost, PSA, do not panic. This is why we say check into with your support coordinator, LAC, key worker, community needs of time, delegate. If you don't have someone, now is the time to get someone as well.
Absolutely.
So that's a huge one.
Ultimately, we're looking at, they're really looking at changes being, yes, they're going to influence some strategy, which is the accessibility. So, number of people that can get on board, they're going to limit. Now, of course, they were busy talking about 20% a few years ago that government is leading. And then it's dropped to 10%, and then they were talking about 8%, and then 6%, 5%. Now it's down to 2% new participants going in. So that's new participants gaining accessibility to the NDIS will be 2%. So that's going to hold for 5 years, they say. Now, of course, we know governments. Should the government change or be rolled by the next election, we could see a change again. Now, of course, now he writes for DSC, which is a disability consulting company, and they have their finger on the pulse of the NDIS.
Very much so, don't they?
They're very aware and they're on top of that all the time.
And links in the sandbox. Shout out to our lovely, I love creators. Like, have you done the links? Have you done the links? But sorry,
I just thought this one got in. I think I said it to you too.
You did.
And it's very interesting how they're wanting to cut, and yet, and I'm not objecting to defence being boosted by all means, but we're boosting defence by 50 billion. Which I know to you now overseas, people, especially America, you've got such a wide line. Let's face it, Australia's population is in America. So, this is the thing. We're not a populated country. On our own. We are based, which really is based on the country within 200 kilometres, mainly. 80% of our people are, so not more. The comments around the media and how the government has worded this up, and how they're using the instances of fraud, both by providers and participants, to try and word up the reining in of funding and the reining in of and doing the cost cutting. Yes, they should never have let it be an unregistered service. Yes, they should never have let it go through plan management or self-management. And however, there still should have been the choice of registered companies, which were registered from the very beginning. But this hasn't happened, so now they're trying to save face and turn things around. They're trying to keep a scheme which, at the moment, it is unsustainable if it continues to grow at the stage it is. However, what about the people that are already in there? They're talking about cutting from 760,000 participants, 760,000 people with disabilities. They're talking about dropping 160,000 off. And now the process for doing this has not been clear, and it's not been, and we do have a tendency for this particular government to bring things through and not have any logistics behind it.
No, and so is
such
this
a concern.
essentially getting the cult back from old regret? it's got out.
Oh, absolutely. It's way up the back paddock.
Yeah.
And this is the problem, and they are trying to rein it in. And I absolutely agree with that. They absolutely need to rein it in. However, dropping 30% of plan managers and then going through and, what they're going to do in July 27 is look at how they can establish a set list of plan managers for participants to choose from. Again, they're going to be doing this in 28 with coordinators. So you will have a set list of people, and this is about tenders. Now,
this is the NIB Thrive Reborn.
Yes. Well, remember, NIB Thrive put 300 million into buying up plan managers. They wanted 50,000 people on their plan management scheme. That's what they did. They bought the companies. They did the right thing. They processed it. But you can't tell me that they did not have inside information into this, because they are aiming to be one of the biggest plan managers in Australia now. Also, at the same time, they bought a single support coordination company. And straight away I thought, oh, hello, that's the next target. So support coordination companies, they will be looking to buy them up and make themselves the biggest support coordination, one of the biggest support coordination companies. Now, we know they just about fell over in the first few weeks, because they just had no concept of what it was going to take on that many, 50,000 plan managed people. And they will do, I don't think they won't make those mistakes with us.
Now, for our international listeners, can you just explain that there's a couple of different systems? You can be self-managed, you can be plan-managed.
Well, it doesn't really come down to level of function, because I've got
correct.
very, very low functioning who have plan nominees, families who support them and signatories service agreements and help make decisions, go to tribunals, all that kind of thing. So ultimately, we've decided out opportunity that's the choice. You could have it managed where it all went straight through to the NDIA, and we know that they weren't checking anything, and it's very confident that would roll and you get paid the next day. You know that was happening. This is where a lot of the fraud came in, because the first time I ever invoiced through NDIA, back then I was doing individual invoices. I wasn't doing the bulk invoice, which we have to do now. I was doing individual invoices, and it was showing quite clearly that you could put in however many hours you wanted to put in and what you expected to be paid. And that's what would roll at 3 o'clock in the morning.
The price started, the price goes in the max. So everyone is charging the max.
And of course, everyone goes for the max.
And self-managed, I do see a bit of it, but you have to be very on the money, very on the ball.
You've got to keep every receipt.
If
You can be audited by the NDIA and said, questioned about any purchases, what was it for, how was it managed, who, where are the receipts. You've got to hang on to everything when you self-manage, everything.
So pretty much like if you run your own business.
Pretty much.
It is equivalent. You are running your own business. You then become business.
Yes, absolutely. So you're running the business of handling the funds for the person, with a disability, your family member, or
it could be yourself.
Yes, you could do it for yourself. Absolutely, you could do it for yourself. And look, we've got people that have had accidents and are in wheelchairs that cognitively are fine, and they do their own management. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, self-managed, I find, quite frankly, I wouldn't work for someone doing self-management if I was a support worker, because, at least with plan management, you've got a third party.
Yes.
That you can go to and say, well, hey, listen, why wasn't my invoice paid? Whereas if you're working with someone that's self-managed and they don't pay invoice and they don't talk to it, or they don't, and we know you don't have to share your plan with other people. Don't forget that. That's something that I'm finding. I had a support company demand that I send them a copy of the plan, and I said, no, you are not getting a copy of the plan. You don't need a copy of the plan. You're doing 7 hours on a Saturday. You do not need a copy of their plan. Oh, but we need to see the funding. No, you don't.
And would you, for with Andrea being disorganised, would you be waving a red or orange flag going, oh, well, this is a red flag?
I waved a red flag and I the OPG because that person was with
OPG, Office of Public Guardian.
Yes.
So they are essentially the mantle of safety for people with disability. Also,
Who don't have anyone else to do it.
And this is the thing, like, just from me, even before the changes, establish your mantle of safety now.
Absolutely.
It might be the local bus driver. It might be the coffee shop where you get. Am I doxing myself here? The coffee shop where you've got to go and pay your account because you get your coffee at work. Shout out to Bronze up at Medici Centre. If you know, you know. Oh, they do a mean flat white.
And you're running an account.
Well, I pay it every week.
That's the thing. Consistency is fine. So they understand and they know where you work. They can track you down.
I can literally go to my boss and garnish my wages if needed.
But to get back to that OPG now, OPGs are there to assist people that don't have anyone else to do that and they're not capable of making their own decisions. Now, a lot of people go, I can do this, I can make my own decisions. It's not about making your own decisions in your day-to-day life. It's about making decisions around service provision and accommodation. It's about making the decision to, who to help look after you and where you're living and making sure that you are housed. Your day-to-day living is a totally different thing. What you do in day-to-day living is your choice. Absolutely your choice.
Whether you want to be in the day centre one-on-one support. Yeah, it does depend on your funding. Absolutely. As your job. In fact, I'm finding a lot of the big name employers are now. It used to be the opposite way. If you took disability, yes, they could have a discrimination case on your hands if you were a candidate. But sometimes they would find an excuse for you not to be the perfect candidate. And in Australia, workplace health and safety law, even in the application, you have to disclose a disability or an injury.
Yeah.
But now I'm finding it's the other way because there's research that disabled employees in the open market are actually some of the most valuable as well.
Absolutely.
And we've got this
as long as you've got a good employer, that's not, and good employees pushing that person around. Disabilities, once you train them correctly in their job, that's, they're happy to do their job. You don't get complaining and the whinging about, the coffee being not made at the right time and, some of the crap that employees go on with. Seriously, princesses?
Oh, this is the thing. If you're at a job in the open market, you're there to work. There will be shitty bits of it. Whether it's a customer, whether it's the printer jam, whether it's the boss.
The printer jam, let's throw the thing out on the road, for God's sake.
Now, there's lots of backstory.
Oh my gosh. I was running for a meeting the other day and I needed to print one thing out that had just come in on the emails to take to this meeting for signatures, and the printer decided not to connect to the laptop, and I'm like, are you serious? So I had to turn it off, turn it back on, check the paper, talk about wanting to take it out and throw it out in the street. But anyway, I eventually got what I needed, but I was late.
We at work, we do use our printers a lot. They're connected to the till, but we have a very non-tech solution for when that happens. We have a box of USB cables.
Oh.
You just run them to another. But nothing. And also,
we've actually done that. We've plugged the printer to the laptop. We've actually done that to safeguard.
Yeah.
It's still working. So anyway, sorry.
And also, mental safety is having your informal supports, and it can take a lifetime to build them. So you said, it might be the lady at the coffee shop, it might be a boss, it might be self. That's what the mental safety issue is. Other supports that if your funding is cut, do you know how much the bus will work? Do you have a bus driver know that, oh, should I wait and hold
Yeah.
to see if this person is taking on their bus, or a taxi driver?
I'm cutting in over Andrea this time. Hello.
Debbie's using the mute button.
I haven't found one on you yet. It's in regards to the community access and the talk from the government about cutting that in half. Now, what I find is that we have core funding. Now, for overseas people, we have an area of funding where we do our supports from our daily living supports, so in-home supports, help with meals, strip beds, help with the washing. You know, it's not about doing it for you, it's about doing it with you.
And
that's
making
so
you feel. Having skills.
We have a lot of participants that will say, no, you do it, I'm paying you. Oh, hello.
You're not the housekeeper.
You were just a cleaner, you didn't know just clean. But
have a true
yeah, that's right. But as
you guys, sorry to clean this.
Hang on, I'm going to try and keep it quiet. It's not going to work, I know.
Drink break.
But what I'm trying to say is that because you might be given 100,000, say, you get just out of the ballpark, and you've got 60,000 of that for your daily living, which includes things like helping you learn to cook, helping you go through the processes of learning how to do washing. Things as simple as changing your bed, like, all of those things. And it depends on the level that you are at, what you need. So your support workers will work with you around that. And then you have, you might have $5,000 saved for consumer. Say if you have AIDS or fluid thickener or anything like that, it all comes under consumer.
Can I put my regular PSA in of make sure you go into the pharmacy when you're at your last packet? Just your regular thickener in particular, as well. So because there is an inside story into that, the thickener is made in very small batches as well. So it's not just us being lazy at the counter, it's us wanting to provide best practice for you.
Best product, because, it's made in small batches because it has a life. So, and they don't want to be selling you stuff that's outside of that life or, on the other side of that life. So the other thing is, if you have someone that that is ordering your aids or your needs for you, let them know early enough. Don't wait until you're down to the last 5 aids before you go, I need more, because there's a process to this. It's not instant. We can't just go, oh, okay, I'm just going to run down and pick them up for you. Unless we pay for them straight out, and then we have to get reimbursed through the plan. And if you're NDIS managed or NDAM managed, that's a process. You need to be registered in order to do that.
And there is processes for a reason. It keeps everyone safe, including whether it's a home care aid place, online as well. Now, your thoughts on online? There is some NDIS providers that are just online. Your thoughts on them for like aids and consumables?
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine. Let's face it, we're in a tech.
It scares me slightly. However, I'm the one who spends so much time on tech.
Well, but let me finish. Anyway, so if you have consumables, let the person know who is going to be ordering them. Yes, a week or two ahead of time. So the process has not happened. So generally, the process would be go to the pharmacy, ring the pharmacy, email the pharmacy, let them know that you're needing these things. They then have to process that invoice through the plan manager, the NDIA, get payment back, and then they order. So this is the thing, because so many people have been burnt by doing orders and then sending the invoice through and then not being funding.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not saying you can't have what you need. We're just saying let them know early enough. Make sure there's funding there for it. Now, this is the thing with self-managed, and sometimes the plan managed, they don't think about, oh, I'll just need an extra shift. Oh, I just need that extra 3 hours. Oh, I need to go to church on Sunday. That's all money coming out of your plan. Transport fund. It's money for your transport. It's money for the support. It's all the way there's funds. Now, what I think the biggest problem has been is that we've got community access. Now, let's go back to 100,000. We've got 60,000 for ADLs, which is your daily living, in-home support. We've got our consumable funding of, say, $5,000. Let's allow $5,000 for transport just to make the numbers easy. And that leaves us with $30,000 of community access. Now, what I think has been happening is that support workers have been going to do a shift, and it might be an in-home shift, but then they've had to go down and grab something from the grocery shop.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is it's all being put against community access. So we're having a blowout on the community access side. But in the core, if you have negative in community access, say your community access ends up being minus 36,000. As long as you have a positive in that ADL funding, they will allow that to be paid. The problem is when this all gets through to the government and they're analysing their data, all your community access stuff is going under community access codes. Now, it may well have been a daily living shift, which should have been under a daily living code, and it's gone under a community access code. The problem is they have seen a jump of 50% in community access, and that's where we have to be super careful to show that we are actually using that daily living funding as it should be used. Now, they've been banging on about this for the last 12 months. Use the plan as it's been intended. The thing is with that, when you get your plan, you'll see a single figure over core funding.
Yeah.
So it's like 100,000. Wait, wow. Okay, even though they're doing the 3 monthly or the monthly, and sometimes I find your consumables will be front loaded, as in it will be in the first funding period, and then the next funding period drops. Now, that's never explained to anybody. So this is where your support coordinator comes in handy. If you're not understanding, if you've got a plan and you haven't got a support coordinator, for goodness sake, ask. If you've got a plan manager, ask them what's going on here. Sometimes they don't even know for sure. Now, what we get as a support coordinator, what I can do is ring the NDIS, or web chatting I find is the easiest because you can copy and paste it into a Word doc and keep it, and it goes into your file with the receipt number. But if you haven't got a support coordinator, if you're plan managed, if you're NDIA managed, and you get your plan through, and you're looking at these numbers going, what the hell have they done? For goodness sake, get onto the NDIS and ask for the breakdown of your plan. Now, that means they will send you, and it should come in the email that they send the plan out with. And it might say, right, you've got daily living, you might have 2 hours a day of 1-to-1, and the rest is 1-to-2. You might have 4 hours of 1-to-2. They might say, okay, your consumables is 4,000. They might say your community access is so many hours, 2 hours per day, per week, which means Saturday and Sunday as well. Or if it just says weekdays, it's Monday to Friday. Yeah. So this is what's happening is we've got this massive confusion going on around these plans when they're coming out. If you're stuck, for goodness sake, ask someone. Get onto the phone to the NDIS, pin them down, ask for the breakdown, write it down. Make sure you understand.
Yeah, so now you can understand too, there is, for our extension listeners, there's different ratios of support. The most common one, and I'm going to go back to housing here, and especially with housing, it's making sure this is still right for you, because with an independent living, which might be a random house in the street, but no one knows unless they clock that the support worker going in uniform. So they're designed to not to look like an everyday
Yes. And not to look like an institution.
or
My concern is they're small institutions. Like we took
Yes.
away the big institutions. I do agree with that. I do agree with the fact, and we see this in the hospitals. The nurses are running at like a 1 to 8, a 1 to 12, 1 to 15. It's just absolutely ridiculous. How can you do that? But in our bigger institutions with disability, I don't know how their ratios used to run. I know they used to get up to a 1 to 5. And on my side is there, you would have had, in the bigger places, that used to do like 15 people, you would have 2 or 3 workers. So there would be accountability between those workers. Now we have a situation in SILS where we have, in supported independent living homes, where we have 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 2 with 1 support worker. My concern with this is who is accountable? Is it, yes, that support worker is accountable to the participants. And don't get me wrong, there's some bloody fantastic support workers out there, and they care. They are there for the right reason, but there's a hell of a lot that aren't. Now, always be aware of your participant. If you are a family member, and try and check in regularly with that participant.
If something seems off, if they're not engaging or hyper, it's just something that use there's a fellow creator, literally the Church of Fuckery, one of the commandments, listen to your gut, it is the alarm. Listen to your gut. And yes, moving is expensive, but they might need to move. They might need to
listen, if it feels wrong, it is wrong, there's something going on. But not to say, and the biggest problem is, I've been on the other side of that, where I've been the support worker that's done everything I can for people, and then they've gone to the office and lied.
And that's the thing.
Will lie as well. So it's really difficult for a company and management to sort that out. Like who is actually doing the wrong thing here, and understand that are these behaviours, is that a behaviour from the participant, or has that participant totally changed their behaviours? If they've totally changed their behaviours, that needs looking at, because and that why question is always there. And I do believe, and I know that I've got companies, I've had companies and worked with companies before as a support worker that never do a check-in on a SIL home. No, that's not right. You should be doing spot checks. You should be there. Drop in. Management should drop in at 7 o'clock in the morning, see what's going on. Drop in at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Drop in at 6:30 when it's dinner time. What's going on? And these are the things. And this is all the stuff that's been highlighted through the media, saying, "Well, look at this. This happened in a SIL house. This happened." This is because people aren't being monitored. People aren't being followed up on. Participants are being dumped in a SIL house and left by families. I've seen it happen. And I've got a couple of participants of my own that, have had exactly that situation where they've just been dropped off. Here you go. That's it. You look after them.
And on dinner, just a PSA, I've stopped eating dino nuggets. I've moved on to chicken schnitzel. Chicken schnitzel salad and white sauce.
The difference is what?
Well, I'm not
a bigger piece.
A bigger piece, and have you noticed that, yes, I don't have a mute button because I'm at least come up.
Do you reckon it's the
preservatives? I think it could be. However, I have started on a nutritional supplement with my nutritionist and neurologist's commission, which I think is gone. But now, also talking about that, this is going to be a mixed bag. I was just checking in with Deb and that as well. Please, with media,
take it with a dose of salt.
There is media.
There's so much false news out there. Seriously, guys. Yes, when you've got it on a current affair and you're seeing it for real, that's where I believe it. But anything in the papers that it's been proven the papers are, it's all about sensationalism. It's all about numbers. It's all about getting sales. And they're going to get
the sales. Sales the political vote. Yes, in Australia, political vote. Because who wants that video?
Yes.
As well. And guys, we're going to wrap it up fairly soon. We're going to do.
We're getting blown away.
We're getting blown away. So, media literacy, we are going to do as well.
So social media. Please don't believe anything on Facebook. Oh my
Facebook,
God.
and even over on TikTok, there's some great creators over there. Our producers over there, our editor is over there. I won't dox them, but also take it with a grain of salt. That if it's not your team, it won't apply to you. That's as simple. If it's not your team, it's general information.
As we go forward, I shushed that. Sorry.
I need to teach Debbie where the denoise button is.
I haven't found it. I've told you, I haven't found it.
Wait, the button down on the board.
I should mark that with a red pen.
There's a red line behind it, guys. For our audio listeners, it does have a red line behind it.
It's tech. Don't show me tech. I just want to. I phone. I make calls, get calls in, send texts.
And that's the other thing.
I don't want too much.
With communication, you can ask for people to communicate in the way you do. So if you need it written down, you can get text, you can get an email. You can also request, and I only learnt this at work yesterday, all calls are recorded to the NDIA. You can request that audio transcript.
Absolutely.
So if you're saying, oh no, but I asked, and they're saying, no, I didn't, ask for the audio transcript.
Yep. And web chatting, I'm finding web chatting is great.
This is where documentation matters on both sides as well. Support workers, the documentation is literally what could protect you.
It's all legal documents. Now, my daughter rang me last night. She'd had an argument with a participant because she writes in her case notes that she has had a conversation. She doesn't write what the conversation is about, but she's writing, I had a conversation with a participant, engaged quite well with me individually, went into a social setting and tended to disengage.
Yes.
So, and the participant argued with her point blank and said, they're my case notes. You write it there. And that's my privacy that you're affecting. And I said to Rose last night, I said, if you were writing word for word a private conversation that you had no real concerns about, like there's no suicidal ideation, there's no talk about any anything like that, then that's fine. But if you're picking up on something, you need to note it. It needs to be written down, because should something come along later and they turn around and say, well, you didn't write this down, they told you this on this date and you wrote nothing down, and now let me tell you now, a support provider or a service provider will throw you under the bus because they can. Yep. And say, oh, well, it was on the support worker, we did the training, we did this, we did that. It's on the support worker, they didn't do that. So be very aware. Do not put in the I thinks or whatever. Here's that. Do a case noting. There are free ones online. Get in there.
Links in the sandbox below, because Andrea may have gone back to a bad habit of feeding support workers the free info. Very bad habit. But LinkedIn Learning, if you're in Australia and you're a member of your local public council library, it is completely free and accredited. There's case noting, there's case noting and documentation. It's a little bit different. Documentation is if there has been an incident, and an incident might be, and for our international listeners, yes, this is the case. An incident might be something that in a family would be considered laughed at dinner, but in a still home it might be arguing over, oh, oops, that wasn't content or text. So we need to now get some kind of replacement.
I think the thing is
Arguments over who ate the last of the conflict. That could be an incident.
no, well,
Could
yes,
that be?
it could.
Could,
That's the
could.
trigger. That's the trigger for a possible incident. Depends where it goes. So the big thing is that we have this gap between what is normal, what is behavioural, what is an incident. So and sometimes it's just behavioural, but it still needs to be noted. So some people might have, they call it an ABC. It's like a tracker on behaviours, and it might be as simple as answering back, swearing, spitting, hitting, kicking. It could be, it could get into that realm. Yes, they're generally people that have got positive behaviour support plans. However, that doesn't mean that someone that doesn't have a behaviour support plan does not have behaviours. So they need to be noted so that it can be taken forward to the NDIS, to your support coordinator, to your plan nominee, and said, well, look, we're seeing this. I'm seeing quite a bit of this. I don't know what the triggers are, or the idea of behaviour incident reports is you have a trigger. You have the incident, you have after the incident what was done and who was involved. With a behaviour report, it's more about that behaviour. Again, you're looking for triggers. So, and be aware, like I've had support workers that have worked for someone for a number of years, and it's just like, oh yeah, that's just her, or that's just him, that's just what they do. Is that a normal behaviour? If it's not a normal behaviour, it's not just what they do.
It needs to be
a behaviour.
And again, it's one of our tropes that we've said since we started the podcast, that if it's not documented, it didn't happen. And families as well document behaviours as well, or
yeah.
Stuff
that's going on,
it doesn't have to be for a family. It doesn't have to be as a set of support worker. It could be dropped in on so-and-so was having dinner. Wish I could have the steak.
But there was big blue going. Is this a trigger? Do we need to look at, the housing situation? Would that make it easier for the family? Is mum more carer than mum? Yes, those kinds of things. So
does mum need to link into other services like carers? And in Australia, there is Carers Gateway. If you're now not SIL, it's like SDA, short-term accommodation. There was a big thing of people in the SIL couldn't have respite. Now it seems to be one of those decisions that they're like, hang on, is this...
Are they looking at turning that on its head?
They are looking at turning that on its head.
I don't think they'll come in this one, though, because of the cost. To be honest, they'll have to adjust the policy around that and how that's managed.
I think it was more that they were tightening up that there was so many packages offering respite, but what it was actually a holiday. And there is a very different between a holiday and respite.
But does that mean that someone with a disability who lives with other people can't get a break?
And that's the question we need to ask. And sometimes that holiday is respite for that person.
Absolutely. It's how you manage that. I mean, stop calling them holidays. They're not bloody holidays. We can't do that. The minute you say holiday, you're gone. That funding disappears. Poof, gone. The minute you say that your informal supports can do this, can do that, that funding's gone. The minute you say, oh, my brother can do the lawn, that funding's gone.
Yeah.
Please be aware of what you're saying, especially with check-in phone calls. If you have a support coordinator and you get a phone call from the NDIS, just want to check in on your plan. Oh, okay. Can you ring my support coordinator? Or I'm not going to talk to you without my support coordinator. You need assistance for that, because the questions seem very innocent and they're very nice when they're asking the questions, but believe me, you'll get a plan handed to you that's been slashed.
Yeah.
So you've got to be very, very careful. And it's not that I'm trying to promote against the NDIS. The NDIS has done amazing things for a lot of people.
It's been the biggest social...
Oh, it's huge.
It really is. Since Universal.
It really has been amazing.
Changed the game and changed the landscape. And, I see, how does one
I'm
put
just
it?
promoting caution with
Exactly.
what you're doing, what you're saying.
Have that
Be
caution.
more aware of plans, be more aware of funding and the use of funding.
And remember, it's not technically your money.
No, it's taxpayers' money. And believe me, I'm forking out a bloody lot of tax.
And that's the thing. Is,
And
yes,
a lot of
there's
people are.
more open market. It's
Yeah.
provided employment, but we do need to rein it in for sustainability. I'm a participant myself, and even I agree with we need to rein it in.
We do.
And that's the thing. And get
But
it back to the basics.
Yeah, and getting it reined in properly, though.
And so there isn't the harm.
And actually reading the reports. Hello. Actually read the OT report. Get planners in there that actually understand what these reports mean. And I think there's a big problem with that. Because planners come and go, they get stressed. It's such an overload. And honestly, I could have looked at that a number of years ago before I started my business, and I was, I had a phone call regarding becoming a planner, and I thought, I was support coordinator working in the company at the time. And I thought, what do I do? Some days I wish I had it, because I would have been guaranteed a wage. I would have been guaranteed 15% super. I would have been guaranteed, I would have been salary sacrificing, all that kind of stuff. I didn't. I some days I wonder. But I didn't. Look, and support coordinations, don't get me wrong, it is very stressful. Every phone call, every email is another problem to fix and solve. And it can get really difficult to do that.
And have a list of questions. So one of my tips to safety support ladies is have a list of questions as well. Don't just ring up and go, hang on, and not have your question framed. No, that might be a phone call, yes, that, hey, I don't know who to call about this, definitely. But if you are low support needs, have a list of questions around the changes. Is my housing going to be affected? Community access. Well, so do I need to start bus training? Or
the biggest problem is, though, we don't know. We can't say a definitive, no, this isn't going to affect you. We don't know how this is going to affect you. All we can do is evidence everything we can. Make sure the funding's used properly and in the right places. Make sure those invoices that are going in through private support workers in particular and companies are done to the appropriate codes, because that's what their data analysing and finding this massive increase in community access. That's why they're hammering community access. Now, to my mind, when you've got a participant who is in a supported independent living situation, this is a 24/7 situation. They've been determined as needing more than 12 hours a day of support. That's how they get it. Now, if they're going to reduce their community access, what happens to their daily living funding? So that has to increase. So Mark Butler, the Minister for Health, and NDIS and aged care.
My prediction is it's all going to roll into one system. Biggest bank account. It's the bank account that's analysed in real time.
And I think with aged care, honestly, I can see the NDIS. Their next solution will be to cut off at 65 and roll you into aged care. The aged care system is not at the level of the NDIS, and it never will be. And they will pull the NDIS funding back to suit and fit in with aged care. Now, my brother-in-law, and I've talked about him before, at 67, had a heart operation, then had a massive stroke. He's now, my sister, who's 5'0", is hoisting her 6'3" husband, getting him into his wheelchair, changing him in bed, showers him. She does everything for him. She has 3 sessions a week of 2 hours now for in-home help to help her assist with him. So they will come in and do the showers. Now, the problem has been that his showers commode's no good. He's got no bum, so he was slipping through the hole. So instead of the OT going, well, we'll order another seat for it and change that over. It was, we'll have to get a whole new shower commode. No, hello, where's the thinking around here? But, I mean, I'm not saying and please don't, the OTs, please don't jump up and down. We've got a baby OT here that really hasn't had the experience and shouldn't be really working with this level of disability.
Yep.
But with the aged care system, he was a level 4.
Mm-hmm.
In October, November, they rolled it over and they went to 8 levels of funding. Instead of automatically him going to a level 8, he was stayed in a level 4. Now, his previous level 4 funding was $67,000. After they made the change, his funding dropped to $43,000.
Oh,
Without just bang like that, because
Yeah.
you're a level 4 in this system now, so that's what you're getting. So then it was a mad rush to get this reassessment done, which found he was at a severe level 8. And now, how much do you reckon he gets now?
I don't know, because numbers are not my strong suit. Unless I'm trying to have a sewing machine, working out the grid pattern for a hand piece quilt.
Yeah. He now gets 78,000.
And that's a jump. That's for the jump of 3%.
Well, that was, he's a severe level 8. He's 78,000. How much do you reckon someone with that disability on the NDIS would be getting? Don't know. We would be pushing 300,000 to 400,000.
Oh, yeah.
So, why is there such a disparaging difference between the NDIS funding and aged care funding? It's, I mean, let's face it. I mean, everyone's going to get up.
All this worked hard as well.
Peter, sorry, I shouldn't have said his name. Well, it doesn't matter. He's Peter. He worked since he was 16, right through to when he retired 2 weeks before he had his heart operation. Now, he had been for nearly 30 years, put nearly 40 grand a year into the system. And here he is, the man can only get 78,000.
For our American and European viewers, the system was that you paid taxes, you paid extra, and therefore you would get a Commonwealth guaranteed pension. However, there was major fraud in that system, in backroom deals, especially in Queensland. I will put the links to the Fitzgerald inquiry down. Horrific read. Simon Whistler does a really good one here into the Fitzgerald inquiry, in that there was a lot of fraud, and that's where a lot of people's pensions went.
Yeah.
And same with super. Super is our equivalent of the 401k as well. Yeah. And guys, PSA, if you're in the open market, the new super rules have come through that super has to be paid when you're paid. So check it is going in.
1st of July that starts.
Check that's going in as well.
Because a lot of people haven't been getting paid their super.
I know for someone directly in my family, that's why they had to start a business in retirement as well.
Yep.
Because it was getting paid on paper, looked at the bank account, nothing was there.
Yeah. Please check.
Let's check. And so this is what we're saying. Have the media awareness. There's really good books. Check who.
Yeah.
Check isn't
I've
clickbait.
watched Shonkies because I watched something the other day.
Shonkies. I haven't heard of that. Someone I haven't heard of before.
The Shonky providers. The Shonky super guys that are going, look, if you've got 250 plus in super and you own your own house, we can increase your wealth by 25%, and you can own 2 or 3 houses by the time you retire. And I went in those just recently, and I got an hour in, and I'm like, hang on a minute, you're talking about drawing equity out of the home that you bought, so therefore you borrow money against the home that you've bought to buy another house, relying on the fact that that will be rented, and you're going to do that and put your super in the hands of this wealth company so that they can put it in high-risk investments to jump your super. Please, people, please be very careful. If you're a high-risk person, you don't care if you get to retirement age and you're in a rental and you're getting the pension and nothing else, go ahead, do it. I encourage you to do it. But if you've paid your house off or nearly paid your house off, you have your super sitting there, and you're looking forward to settling in, because the thing is, when you borrow against your equity, you have to be able to pay that back. when you buy another property and you put down $200,000, you can't get anything. I mean, in Toowoomba here, we're basically running nothing under 600,000. So you're borrowing 200,000. You're going to rely on the rent and pay that, but the bank won't. I can tell you now, the bank won't, because I went through this with my investment property. I ended up selling the bloody thing. I hate that I did, but I had to in order to get my own house. So that's a divorce situation, and that's the shit that can happen. But
and again, documentation matters.
yeah, but be aware. Don't get sucked into this stuff.
And this is where, say, if they do like the blue, because I have had this happen, hence why I'm working, and not hence why I'm working with the CP. I just say, hey, thanks, I know your owner is on your job, I'll give you 24 hours to think of it. Or yeah, I'm not going to make a decision, especially when they're ringing about their personal bill or whatever. Well, I'm not a decision maker, sorry, I'm in here. Yeah. Please take me off the mailing list. English. No, not good vibes these days. They're not here. They don't live here anymore. Tell me about no, but don't know me. Guys, media literacy is an episode coming soon. The reason this version has given me is really good. If you have a mainstream level education and can read a book, it also is affordable. The rise of the mass media, and they have actually updated it to include internet. But it even goes into.
Got to be very careful.
Whether it's left or right. It's not is it about selling the newspaper to the advertising of the newspaper? Is it about getting the click through to get the ad revenue?
Is it about pushing? Is it about government in the background?
Pushing that agenda,
encouraging and pushing that agenda, because that is the big thing that we're looking at. Is it the fact that they have used media to push for, oh, look at this, look over here, what are we doing in the background? You've always got to be aware, if a government's pushing one thing, what are they slipping through the back door?
And this is something that you can talk to your support worker about. Hey, I want to do some media literacy. Library, LinkedIn Learning, Alison.
Help me understand what's false news, what isn't. And look at AI. Seriously, all the memes. And you look at the memes and you think, is it real or not?
And this is
this is the hard thing.
And especially with what's happening with world leaders having a tantrum in the Middle East.
Oh, yeah, hello. Talk about 2-3-year-olds fighting over a ball. Honestly, get a life, people. Get going.
And propaganda has always been used in warfare. In fact, I reckon this war will be fought with propaganda.
Absolutely.
And look at what's happening on your TikTok algorithm. Are you getting the Lego videos? If you're not, you're probably not the person they're trying to target. And that's the thing as well. That's something you can do with a support worker as well. But guys,
it's really important to look at media. Really important. Don't believe what you read in the papers. Don't believe everything you read unless you can back it up with a second source. Don't believe everything you read. And my dad used to always say, don't believe anything you hear or read, and only half of what you see.
Yes,
because and
unless you were literally there.
Yeah,
as well.
Because the truth, there's three sides to the truth. Their truth, your truth, and the real truth.
And what objectively happened.
Yeah.
Guys, we're going to leave it there because we're both getting blown off because we are in, I finally have permission to disclose we are in Toowoomba. I won't disclose where. And the week after Anzac Day, it always turns bitter. Anzac Day, for our international listeners, is a commemoration. It is not a celebration by any means.
No.
It is a commemoration of those who have died for our freedoms, as well. World War I, all conflicts, including the global war on terror, are recognised as well. Links down in the sandbox below.
And it includes our Indigenous people.
People as well.
Indigenous people, our animals, the horses, the horses, the dogs, We
now include those who were left behind, those who were essential trades, electricians, your refrigeration mechanics, your linesmen who were discriminated against because they weren't on the front line, for women who stayed behind to raise the kids, to
work. That was the start of the women's revelation.
Yes.
Of working. When the men came back from war, they didn't want to go back to household stuff. They were now empowered to work.
It is.
You know?
Guys, that's also linking back to earlier in the podcast, that groups like that, guides, scouts, women's league at your local church could also be part of your mental safety.
Yeah.
I have learned that they can also teach you quilting and quilting the right way. And you get threatened with a lemon cake that everyone has to eat because so-and-so bought it, and you choke it down because it's a brick. You're going to be the one eating it if your quilt is not lining up properly.
That's when you got to have a cup of tea on hand.
Yes. Well, that is not aimed at anyone. That is an amalgamation of about 5 stories.
And look, I mean, in reality, for our people with disabilities, learning how to sew, knit, crochet, and the men like to do that stuff as well. There's no discrimination against men in this either, because the guys like to sew. They like to learn how to knit, crochet, and do all those basic things. Learning to cook. It's no longer regarded as women's work, but there are things also that are fading out.
During the sea, because the Germans and the Japanese hated the Australians during World War II, but because they were not allowed to drink, they actually taught our Australian submariners how to quilt as well, and they're on.
Yeah.
So
many stories.
Really. Stories about that as well. Links in your sandbox to John Oxley Library podcast as well. For those who have been listening, yes, I have finally got my dad recorded as well as part of the oral history as well. So guys, please again like, share, subscribe, comment. Over on where other places you can find me over on YouTube as Annie's Escapades. Annie in Wonderland is our backup channel. We are signal boosting NDIS updates on that channel as well, here on the podcast. Also, guys, I've finally got my butt to gear. I do have a Patreon and Andrea L. Nunn on the creators page as well. So, guys, that's all the place. Now, you are Deb Lunt, your Busy Bee Support Coordination. I have to ask, are your books closed at the moment or open?
I just took on 2 new people last week. I find it really difficult to say no, because I know people are needing help, and it's only going to get more and more. I am going to look at taking on another support coordinator this year. Yes, hopefully around that end of financial year time, I'll look at taking on another support coordinator to help us. And, you know, in reality, look, we're just going to stick it out until they say, you know, we're doing this. You know, what's that? Now it seems to be having a short list of support coordination companies that you can choose from.
So did they realise 28 support coordinators did keep the costs down?
Well,
that is my thought.
Well, they keep our costs down. That's what they do. They push us down. But the thing is, you know, we all do our jobs. We all do, we do the hours. Because we know the people need it. And I think the government is starting to rely on that a bit, which is a concern as well.
It is. And your thoughts on having a list? Like, I know that was the original idea of having a 500-page guide of the people that you can talk to. I love that system. If I was over there, I would be given a bank account by one of the big banks, it's either Lloyd's or Sotheby's, so I'm talking big ones. So there is no fraud. The transactions are analysed in real time. If I didn't have a vision disability and I'm buying a big screen TV, they're like, you're not a content creator. You can't be editing on this. No, thank you. Go and pay for none of your own pocket.
Yeah. I'll see our government would just go, no, get it.
Yeah.
Day-to-day living, forget it.
And it would literally, I would be organising my own supports, my own rostering, which I see
but
in a good
still
way,
working
but
off the list.
still
And that's
working
the
off the list.
And that's the problem. We don't know what that looks like. So until we have an idea on what that looks like, I mean, let's face it, nothing happens quickly. It's a big wheel to turn.
It is.
My concern is that we have got the same minister covering health, aged care, and the NDIS. The NDIS really should be an account on its own.
Yes.
Because it's so big. And my concern is that, and how is he going to, over time, I can see some kind of amalgamation happening here, where, aged care and NDIS are certainly crossed over.
I can see that happening as well. I don't know whether it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't have enough education on it to have an opinion.
Yeah.
And guys, this is another thing. When you're interacting with customer service staff, it's okay to say, I don't know, I don't want to talk about my day. When we ask how your day is going, or I actually flip the script and say, how's your day been treating you? You don't have to give us an answer.
It's a hard question to ask sometimes, because sometimes you're there for another 20 minutes.
However, sometimes
people
need that 20 minutes.
That's right. They need
So
the
we can ask, if you're having a bad day, do you want to grab the chocky? Like, we may not be able to do something. We may be able to refer you to the pharmacist for some practical help or intervention. But, like, just the PSA, it's a really odd PSA. You can just say that stock standards 5. What's a PSA? Public service announcement. That you don't have to be across everything. You can say, hey, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why you're in the pharmacy. That's why you're in the pharmacy or the corner store in the first place.
And I don't know everything either. Don't worry. It's very difficult to know everything about everything. You just, I find it's best to just be honest and upfront. Just say, look, this is what I can do. I don't know about that. I will try and find out for you. And if I can't find out, I will give you someone to talk to about it, or send you a link to something that works for you. So,
that's also a thing. And that's the thing that mental health safety, we've talked about this, and we're working out a time with our friend of the show, Andrew Lord, to come on, is that your chemists are part of your mental health safety as well. We will notice when you don't come in for your Webster packs. We'll ring and pick up the phone. Do you need delivery? Are you in hospital? Also, shout out to our customer. You know who you are. You are a subscriber. The slice was absolutely delicious. You know who you are.
Slice.
Yeah, so we get here's a cake for you. Christmas, Easter, Ramadan, and then there was again, I'll have to find out, there was a Hindu festival. So we've got one of the grain truck going out to one of the farms. Where we record is the gateway to a lot of the wheat, sorghum, and barley farms as well. So that's just from a customer service perspective. But we know you're all panicked as well. We can give you the forms, we can point you in the right directions, but we generally will be pointing you back to the support coordinator as well. So there is also foundational supports of AIDS incontinence here as well.
Can you put on can you do a link that shows the web chat? Because I think it's really important, because what you can do in the web chat and NDIS, you go into their main
NDIS supports. I will do those.
You go into the main page, and there is a button halfway along that says web chat. But when you're in that web chat, open a Word document, if you're on your computer in particular, open a Word doc, and you can copy and paste that web chat into your Word document.
So the next users, that will be your notepad or the Grey Office.
Yeah. So it's really important. Hang on to that. Ask for a receipt number. Let's ask for a receipt number when you make phone calls. Yeah, NDIS. Will they ring you? Tell them that you want a receipt number for the call.
Even your health supports, your hospital, private, public, ask for a text as well and a receipt number.
And it's hard because you can get this, and how do you know for sure that it is the NDIS? So you're talking to this that much scammy stuff going on.
And that's the thing. Well, what I have heard with that one is ask for their direct line to call them back.
Oh, they won't give it to you. I found.
I don't know if it's on high support needs or I lucked onto a compassionate planner, but I asked, hey, because I was literally heading out to all the work, like, hey, can I take you after my shift and need a direct line?
Yeah.
Or is it, yeah, so that's the thing. With banks, with hospitals, you can always ask for the direct lines, guys. But that we will. Deb, any final thoughts before we do our Patreon content over on Patreon?
Just be careful. Just be careful. And don't panic. And just be aware of your plan and how it's being used.
And
ask what codes they're using when they're doing their invoicing. It might be as simple as calling into the service provider that you're using, talking to the support workers. What codes are they using? Make sure those codes line up with the your plan and how your plan is meant to be used. If you've got a support worker that doesn't even know what that means, I would be looking for someone else because, I mean, if you're going to be a support worker and run your own business, you need to know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
And you need to be aware of that price catalogue and how that works. And if you don't, no.
On the media side of things, it's okay to switch off. It's okay to switch off the television and have a hobby, put on your, I don't know, I seem to be on the true crime binge at the moment. I've gone off HNA lands.
No, thanks. I see enough.
True crime.
I see enough. I just watch The Mentalist and CSIs and things, and that's enough for me. I don't need to watch the real stuff.
Oh, what am I watching at the moment?
Was it Crime for Hollywood or something on Netflix?
Or it's on Tubi.
The Cost of Fame or Death by Fame or something.
Solving Cicada, where are they now? Because I'm part of that community. Solving Cicada is what I'm currently watching.
Okay.
So I'm part of that community, and guys, and that's another thing as well, guys. Your gaming communities, your cryptography communities. Also, please be aware in Australia, if you're under 18 and I am over 18, it is actually now against the law for me to DM with you unless I am part of your care team in something like the Social Gamer, which is NDIS funded. Unless I have met you in real life, it is now a crime. So be aware of that.
Predatory stuff going on.
Yeah,
it's very scary out there. This tech world can be very helpful, but it can be really scary. And a lot of our kids have been led up really bad paths because of it.
And the social media ban seems to have been a mixed bag. However, during the school holidays, my local bus stop, and I am really, really pleased to see this, the local bus stop has been packed with kids going into town.
Oh, good.
And the council has actually put on free activities during the school holidays. They do
50-cent buses here.
Yeah, 50-cent buses. And for people with a disability, the reason, and I finally got an answer in my bus, the reason the bus pass was for too long was because I had to give them my blue card. I was like, why do I need to give them my working with children check? That's what a blue card is in Australia. It was because it gave me access. Because I am a pharmacy assistant, I am considered an essential worker if we were to shut down. It gives me access to school buses.
Oh, okay.
Which makes sense. So we are through Bus Queensland. There's a tap on, tap off option. The one that's easy for me because it's linked to my bank account, so I can just top up when needed, is a app as well. However, you can use your bank card.
I think we're using the app. Don't we use the app here? We don't have the tap on, tap off, do we?
No, we do have a tap on, tap off.
Oh, because I thought there was
taking
about
one.
Oh, okay.
We can do the tap on, tap off with the bus card. It is an RDF chip as well.
And there's nothing wrong with using the buses and trains. Like,
no,
at the moment through Brisbane, they're 50 cents. So, I mean, go with your support worker.
50 cents.
Yeah. So, go with your support worker. If you're in Ipswich, head into town, head down into Brisbane. Wherever you are.
We do.
Yeah. There's so many different things. Even from the Gold Coast up or Sunshine Coast down. I know Gympie's probably about. I know there's a train in and out of Gympie on a daily, but there's trains that can take you places, but don't just if you're not ready for that and you're not sure of your changeovers and things like that, do it with your support worker a couple of times.
Yeah.
Until you know, and you can have it written down even exactly what you need to do. It makes you vulnerable though, so be careful.
Also, Queensland Transport and Bus Queensland are sunflower lanyard trained as well, because I have been pushing back on my support worker. You'll be horrified. I have got into loans and it's going, oh no, so-and-so can just take me in instead of pushing myself. So that's my afternoon.
Yeah.
It's running up to the local fruit store to get fruit and veg. So that's my afternoon as well. So guys, thank you so much for listening as well. And guys, drop it in the comments below. Questions about NDIS. If you're international, we can explain what it is. We can put you to previous podcasts where I explained it and how revolutionary it was as a social program.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I will put links to.
It's been amazing. I mean, really. I mean, there's people that were isolated and shut in because they couldn't get out. They've now got support with this. People that were, had old, worn out equipment that have now got new equipment. There's, so it has been an amazing thing, but it unfortunately got heavily abused, and now it's got to be pulled back. So, I guess the pendulum swings. See, we went from state managed, or from government managed, told where to go, which company do you work with,
even down to which commode you got.
Yeah. So now, and then it's swung totally the other way, and I saw this happen with childcare too. Swung totally the other way, where you could do whatever you were told. You could do whatever you want, however you want, and basically everyone's doing what they want with no consequences. These are the consequences now.
But that's the thing. Actions have consequences, whether it be positive or negative. So, guys, we will leave it there. Thank you for listening as well. And guys, the other thing is we will put mental health links down below because it is a difficult, challenging time. We're not saying it's not. We're just saying look after yourself, look after your team, and it's okay to switch off the TV.
Yeah.